Hi, Steve Summers and Erik Skopil with educ.com, and this is game week for the Oregon Ducks.
Yeah.
And they're going to be taking on Nicholls State University Saturday here at Autzen Nicholls here at Autzen Stadium on Saturday with a kickoff at 1 p.m. Erik, you didn't get a chance to go up to listen to Coach Helfrich.
Yeah, I'm jealous. You did.
I went up to listen to him. There was basically the tone still the same. He really talked about one of the questions that was asked was about looking forward and what's he looking forward to this first game, and he said, well, game one, and he said that the team is they've got a bunch of great guys that are really good at sort of getting prepared for themselves, and so even though this is a first-year coach, he has a lot of benefits going in having a very experienced veteran team.
That's kind of been, I think, my perception all along, is that, and that's kind of one of the things that they've kind of built this program on, especially under Chip Kelly the last 4 years, was just preparation was key and win the day, and that kind of short that perspective of just kind of the immediate future, not the long-term future, and I think that's kind of seems to be something that will be carried on by Coach Helfrich.
One of the other things that they brought up, someone asked him about the leadership on the team, and he said the tone of the leadership this year is a little bit different from all the leaders last year with guys like Marcus Mariota, and then he rattled off a bunch of the defensive players. So it brought up a question in my mind, which I asked about Marcus Mariota, where Coach Helfrich has said that one of the goals that he had for Marcus was to improve on his communication with the team, be a little more vocal with the team. So I asked him how that's going, and he said, great, Marcus is doing a great job on that. And interestingly, he said another guy that is really sort of popping up is D'Anthony Thomas.
As a vocal guy.
As a vocal guy. He said he was not a guy that was was sort of a guy that did his thing. He said, but he's been sort of very instrumental, particularly with the younger players.
That's kind of interesting, and not having obviously been in practice, but D'Anthony's always been someone that seems very soft-spoken in interviews, and that could be nerves, that could be a number of things, but it's good to hear that that's kind of how he's taken on that mentality this fall.
Now, one of the other things is that obviously playing Nicholls State University, and this is by no means a slam on Nicholls, but certainly this is going to be a big challenge for them. And so folks ask, what was it about Nicholls State that they don't have any film on their starting quarterback? And he said, well, you do your best. Coach Helfrich said, well, you do your best, and hope it's not Bobby Hebert that comes out and starts slinging the ball around on you. But he did mention that the defense, at least from what they have been able to observe from their past teams, shows multiple.
He said he talked about that on Saturday. So they're just different than a lot of teams that they've faced, and that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but they're just a little different. They do kind of more nuanced, I think it sounds like, on the front line.
Yeah. Well, it's probably going to be a question of there's just a different level of athlete that Oregon is going to put on the field than Nicholls State University will. So, but this is going to be everyone's first chance to see what the Ducks look like.
I tried to pose a question to Tyson Coleman, one of the linebackers today, kind of about that, and about linebackers are one of those position groups that there's a lot of question marks about. Would a game versus, I didn't say an inferior opponent, or I didn't want to say it, I might have, would that kind of affect their mentality going into it? And I think they're going to try to take it like this is just another opportunity for that competition to really be amped up. First time in a real football game to really, and just kind of make it their own. So Tyson said he was excited. Obviously, Tyson's playing all four linebacker positions. He's excited to kind of get a tryout inside linebacker a little bit more this game. He thinks he'll have the opportunity to do that if the game is decided early, which is something he's looking forward to.
Well, that's I think a lot of questions, at least that for those of us who have not been able to watch practice, at least some of the questions will be answered. In terms of how good the Ducks are, my feeling is it's not going to be until down the road. We're not sure how much of a test Virginia is going to be. Those of us that have watched their spring game, they certainly present some challenges, and it's going to be a home game for them. But Tennessee, we'll have to see what kind of team Tennessee comes in. But it's going to be a while before we really know what this Duck team is about.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think you hit on it right there. Nicholls probably won't present much of a challenge. Game will likely be over in the first half, and then we'll get an opportunity to kind of see what the reserves are made of. So I think it's a positive thing. It's kind of almost an exhibition football game for them, like the NFL, where they're gonna get a lot of guys out there and kind of get, that their depth chart wasn't set beforehand. It probably isn't going to be set for the season afterwards, but you're going to have a better idea of what it looks like maybe.
Well, that's something we'll see, and apparently there's going to be a pretty good crowd here on Saturday. So again, that game is going to be at 1 o'clock at kickoff time, Pacific time. That's going to be on the Pac-12 network.
I think it's on Fox Sports Network. We'll have to check and update that, but I believe that's correct.
Okay. Well, anyway, so until we, I guess our next time that we're going to chat will be post game. So for Erik Skopil, this is Steve Summers for EDUC.com.